Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Omar. I am from Manchester in the UK and I am a business owner. Recently you mentioned that you have started to give some public lectures since COVID-19 came to an end. You have been to Oman and Nigeria. It was very disappointing to see that the quality of the video and audio was so poor, especially in Oman. There was no point in listening on YouTube as the viewer will not have the proper experience. My question is, how did you let this happen? Your audio video quality is normally the best out of all the dives. What will you do to make sure this doesn't happen again? If Bill Gates went to Oman to give a conference, this would not have happened, and we can't let this happen again for you, as you are the biggest da'i in the world according to the statistics. Jazakallah, and please forgive me for the criticism. But the Umar has asked a very important question that he said, I recently said, and I've said that a few years earlier also, that during the period of COVID, that is in the year 1920 and 1921, most of the people could not travel, so even the public lectures weren't allowed, except I gave one in Malaysia in the Jan 2021 when the COVID restriction was being reduced. But generally in 2020 and 2021, there was no public lecture. And of course, after 22 it started and 23 became more easy, and now 24, of course, there is no fear of COVID at all. So the question is that when I gave my talk in Oman and Nigeria, talking about 1923 last year, about 1.5 years back, and 1 year back was in Nigeria. About 1.5 years back, it was in Oman. That was in April 2023. So the questioner said that when he heard the talk, or when he saw the talk in YouTube, the quality was very poor, the audio wasn't heard, and he was shocked that how could Dr. Zakir Naik allow such recording. Normally when you see his videos, it's of very high quality. It's the best, and he's the best in this amongst all the dais. He sees to it that quality is maintained, and he's so popular and has the largest number of following. So he gave the example of Bill Gates, that if Bill Gates goes to Oman, he will not allow such a recording. First, let me tell you that the recording which was done in my lectures in Oman was not done by my team. It wasn't done by us. The organizer scholars, and we go and attend the program. My job is to see to it that I give and I share my knowledge based on the Quran and Hadith. I'm not responsible for the recording. Yes, what we make it a point, we say that the sound system should be very good, because they invite me for a talk and the audience should be able to hear me clearly. So the only requirement that I have, if I'm going for a talk, but naturally I say that I'll pay for my own ticket, I'll pay for my hotel, unless I'm called by the government, and of course it was the Oman government who called me. So maybe the Oman government gave to an organization, a Muslim organization, to record, and I do agree that the quality of recording wasn't good. But I'm not to blame, because I'm not responsible for the recording. Even those programs which we record, whether it be the peace conference, there are many people even recording on the mobile. So if they record on the mobile, the peace conference organized by me, with the best of recording, but if someone records on the mobile and uploads it and if the quality is bad, you cannot blame me. If it is recorded by us, then we are responsible. So as far as Oman was concerned, and for every lecture that I'm called, I don't take my crew along with me. Depending upon how big the program is, generally, if the audience is more than 10,000, that's the time I usually take my crew along. Before COVID, or before I did Hijrah from Bombay to Malaysia, of course when we used to travel, we have been to many countries in the world, and most of the time the audience is more than 10,000. That time I take a crew of about 55 people with me. And with me and my family, approximately 60 people. And when we travel, of course, we have the best of equipment, and we carry about 2 tons with us, 2 tons, more than 2,000 kilos. As you are aware that I'm always for quality, and when we started our Peace TV, We always believed in having the best of quality. When we had talks, we had the best recording. But when we started the Peach TV, that was in 2005, when we started recording for Peach TV, and we were going to launch after about 8 to 9 months, we purchased the best camera of that time for the broadcast industry. We purchased digital Betacam. Digital Betacam. I remember that when I met Sheikh Deedat, at his time, in the 80s and 90s, he used to record on pneumatic. First there was low band pneumatic, then there was high band pneumatic. And that time it was the best available. And he was very much, so when I did one of my recordings of my earlier talks, I remember, Women That's in Islam, we did in high band pneumatic. And when I gave him the talk, he said, "My son, Zakir, you have recorded on pneumatic." I was shocked. Then I realized that Sheikh Deedat was very particular. When he came to Bombay, he saw to it that he said, "We want very good sound quality." And we gave them the best what we could at that time. Now we realize what we gave him was absolutely rubbish. He was very happy with it, but now when we have got more experience and more knowledge of sound, but he was very happy and he was so much impressed that he came again, alhamdulillah. But coming back to the question, that Sheikh Deedat always emphasized on quality. So when we launched the Peace TV network in 2005, the recording, we bought digital Betacam. After pneumatic low band came high band. After high band was Betacam. And we started recording in pneumatic first, then we went to Betacam. And when we, in 2005, the best quality that time, it was digital Betacam. So we bought cameras of digital Betacam, and I doubt in 2025 any of the Muslim organizations had digital Betacam at that time. So many of them said, "Oh, Dr. Zakir Naik purchasing digital Betacam, israf, etc." But we already had the policy of having the best of cameras. By the time we launched our Peace TV, Allah made it successful. People started watching it. 10 years after that, in the year 2015, we changed the policy. Then after digital Betacam came HD. So we were one of the first Muslim organizations, or rather the first religious satellite channel in the world to telecast in HD. In June 2009, we telecast in high definition. And the Christian channels, the most popular at that time was, I think, TBC or other channels, they started in December 2009. So we were the first religious channel to telecast in HD, because that time HD was the highest quality for the broadcast. In 2015, also HD was the best, but we changed our policy. We said we will not use the best camera of broadcast industry. We started using cinema cameras. We started using recording in 4K in 2015. And towards the end of 2015, we purchased 8 cameras of 4K and 8K. Then it increased to 16, then became 18 cameras. And it came on the Sony website that the only organization which has 18 4K and 8K cinema cameras, it was Peace TV. And so much so that when I went for a talk in Japan in December 2015, Sony invited me. And that time we had 8 cameras, we were about to purchase more. They said, "We want to know the reason. Normally in film industry, the film cameras, you do recording only with 1 camera, because you always have to look into the camera. If there's a fight sequence, there may be 3 or 4 cameras, maximum 7, 8, 7, not more than that. So what type of organization is this? Buying 18 film cameras, that was for television." They wanted to know the reason. That did we have more money? And when I told them the reason is that normally on the television, when we record a program, most of the television channels are commercial. So when they make an episode or a shooting of a drama or a series, what they record now, they edit it maybe in a few days or a few weeks' time or a month's time, and they show it. Once they show it, the first time they show, they get the maximum revenue. Then the value of the program goes down, and after a few months or a year, it becomes obsolete. Well, these programs are never re-telecast, and if it's telecast, it doesn't get any revenue. So the main life of the television program is a very short shelf life. If its news channel, it is more shorter. It's not, once it's shown, maybe it's shown for a couple of days, after that it's gone. But the television program, the soap opera, etc., it is shown the first time, second time, it goes more down. After that, it becomes obsolete. So it is right that when the highest technology for telecast that time was high definition, so why should we record on 4K and 8K, which are film cameras? So when Sony asked me this question, I said, what others are doing are right, and what I'm doing is right in my own way. They said, why are you recording? I said, because if you record with the highest quality of broadcast camera, it can be seen on that satellite for approximately 4 years. So if I buy maybe a Betacam, it will remain in the market for 4 years, then digital Betacam is launched. Then digital Betacam is in the market for about 4 or 5 years, then you have high definition. It keeps on progressing. So if I buy the best camera of the broadcast industry, it will be for 4 years, maybe 5 or 6 years, not more than that. What I'm doing, I'm recording on 4K and 8K in 2015 and downgrading it to HD. Now when I record on film cameras, which are highly specialized, it can be shown on big screens. So what we do, we record, from 2015 we started recording on film cameras, 4K and 8K lens and cameras, very expensive. They are multiple times more expensive than a broadcast camera. And what we used to do, we used to keep the original recording, we used to edit on that 4K and 8K, and then we used to downgrade it to HD for telecasting. But the original recording, I can use it for the next maybe 70 years or 60 years. But the quality is so high. I downgrade it and then telecast it. But why is it important? Our channel is a religious channel. And the speakers are very precious. They aren't like actors, you know, that today they are very famous and one day old, no one asks for them. We are scholars. If I have Sheikh Ahmed Didat and if I have his recording, I know that when I started showing Ahmed Didat on Peace TV, the recording was on pneumatic, most of it. So to show it on my channel, I spent more than $1 million to upgrade 200 hours, and yet I put a ticker that sorry for the bad quality because the recording was very old. So even after spending $1 million, I cannot come to the quality what is there today. And if a scholar dies, his recording is more valuable. And the message of the Quran and the Hadith is the same. There may be a small percentage of change depending upon the context. But if you have tafsir of the Quran, majority remains the same. So these lectures, if we record of scholars who may not be there 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, these programs become more precious. So the Japanese, they said, mashallah, they said, wow, great, what a thinking. And if you check our costing, the labor cost is the same, the stage cost is the same, the cost of director is the same, the cost of DOP, director of photography is same, the cost of cameraman is same. So when I'm spending on high-end cameras, which may be multiple times more, maybe 5 times, 10 times more, but if you see the total costing of the cost of satellite and channel, everything put together, I'm actually spending only 3% more. If I keep everything of the Peace TV same, because we were on 15 satellites, mashallah, everything was great. So if I increase only my cameras of a high quality, which no one in the world in 2015 ever used 8K cameras for the broadcast industry. No one did that. We were the first. It was unique. And they were shocked. But my logic is, I'm only spending 3% more, though the camera is very expensive. Each camera costing about $250,000 at that time. That was in 2015. Each set of camera with the lenses, etc. But if we had 18 cameras, if we add up all this, the cost in my annual budget increased only by 3% because the remaining is the same. So if I ask anyone, should I spend 3% more and secure my footage for 70, 80 years, or spend 3% less and it's only good for about 4 years, 5 years? Any logical person would say spending 3% more and securing for 60, 70 years is better. Coming back to it, we purchased in 2015, November, December. And unfortunately, after the allegation of the Indian government that is there, in 2017, when the organization was banned, illegally, the government, they confiscated all our cameras. So all our cameras were confiscated. And as I told you at that time, we traveled to many countries, to African countries, to Gambia, to Ghana, to Nigeria. And as I told you, approximately 55 crew members used to go. And along with the family, about 60 people. We used to have a weight of about 2 tons. Before that, before in 2012, etc., when we traveled, or 2009, 2008, we used to travel with a bigger weight. Why? Because we used to carry digital Betacam with us. We started recording in 2011 on HD. Before that, we used to record on the Betacam. So the weight of the Betacam is so heavy. So we used to have more than 2.5 tons with us when we used to travel. Then when we came to HD, we were the first people who started recording on LTO. It was LTO 6 that time. LTO 5 came, then LTO 6. We were the first people who used to record directly HD onto LTO 6. So that LTO 6 is easier rather than carrying the tape, the HD tape, etc. And if you have hard disk, it's very voluminous, very heavy. So we used to record on LTO, linear tape, it's called. And that's, normally they don't use this for recording on the film industry. But we started, now people are recording. So coming back, the government confiscated our equipment illegally. Yes, they can come to our office, they want to check. They can take our hard disk, the computer. But why take hold of a camera on a lens? What investigation can they do with that? Of course, it was only to cause loss to us. So they confiscated all our equipment. I did hijrah from India to Malaysia. But as I always say, that money is not the most important. It's important, but it is the least important among the things required. Among the important things, the least important is money. When we did hijrah and when I started, they asked Dr. Zakir, and we started showing the program. And he said, oh, Dr. Zakir Naik has set a new setup, and mashallah, very good recording. He has got new cameras, and they started praising it. To tell you the fact, when we did hijrah, we had a lot of problems, and Allah solved them all. When we started this session, I started recording on iPhone. The only thing I purchased was a stand for the iPhone and a lapel microphone, a cheap one. I spent hardly about $50 or less, maybe 200 ringgit, less than $50. I spent on buying a stand for my iPhone and for a microphone. Then I used my wife's microphone. I started recording with 2 iPhones. Then my son's, it became 3 iPhones. And believe me, people thought, oh, very good lighting. Yes, because of being in the field, Allah gave me knowledge. So the knowledge is very important. We saw to it, the lighting was good. We used my apartment for recording, and everyone liked it. So the point is here that previously when we used to use each camera of $250,000, now we are doing with the iPhone, which is free for me because I'm using it for other purposes. I'm recording with the camera. So imagine where we had millions of dollars worth of equipment, now we are using only $50 for a microphone and a stand for the iPhone. And yet, yes, of course, the quality is world of different for people who have knowledge, but for others, they thought, khalas, Zakir has bought new cameras. Then we progressed, and then we started buying the FX9, which is not the same camera as what we had earlier, but it was 6K camera. Coming to the last part of the question, that when Bill Gates will come to Oman, he will not have this recording. I disagree with you. There are many footage you go on the YouTube of Bill Gates, he's walking on the street, people are clicking, and it's a very, very poor quality. Yes, if Bill Gates himself records, of course it will be of good quality, but it will not be of the quality of what we do in Peace TV, surely. Because very few people go to that level, unless you're a film industry, and film industry doesn't use so many cameras. And I remember that before we did hijrah, in 2016, when we recorded the International Dawah Training Program in Bombay, which was for about 33 days, with the holidays and other things, about 45 days. When we recorded, there was our DOP, he was a non-Muslim. He said they were shooting the Filmfare Award, which is the highest award in the film industry in Bollywood. Though they were using cameras, but not the cameras of film. They were using hardly about 12 cameras. And at the same time, there was a film of Shah Rukh Khan, I forgot the name, where they used 6 cameras. So the DOP of that, the DOP, director of photography, was saying, do you know we use 6 film cameras for one full day for recording the fight sequence of Shah Rukh Khan. So my DOP name is Suri, tried to laugh. He said, have you heard of Dr. Zakir Naik? He said, yes. They are using 14 cameras for 50 days. 14 film cameras, not 6. And there's no Shah Rukh Khan there. He was shocked that 14 film cameras of 8K and 4K for 15 days, it was a Guinness Book of World Record. But when we went to Guinness Book, they said, no, you cannot come just a few weeks before. You have to inform us 2 months in advance, otherwise we can't put it in the record, but no problem. But it was a Guinness Book of Record. We recorded 3 petabytes in 2016, January, February, in that span of about 45 to 50 days. During the off days, we had other programs. Imagine. Then we used it for approximately 1 year. In 2016, 1 year later, after we purchased it, the Indian government laid an allegation, I had to do hijrah, and they confiscated all our cameras and the lenses. Then we did hijrah here. Now coming to your question, that hope this is not repeated, and inshallah, now since the field has opened up more. When we went to Nigeria, the recording was much better. We had taken our FX9. It's not available in Nigeria. Nigeria is a different country. So we took some of our cameras from here. We had some cameras from there. We had only 2-3 crews, and we went there. Of course, the video recording was very good. The audio wasn't ours. But just a couple of months back, what we have done now, since there are many invitations that have come to me from different parts of the world, and my schedule again is overbooked. You know, we have plans this year to visit at least 6-7 countries, or most of them the invitation from the head of states, from the government of the country. That's one of my requirements at this time. What we did a couple of months back, we purchased, mashallah, better cameras than what we had in 2016. At that time, we had the F65, which was the best camera of the world that time, 8K. Just few years later, they launched another camera, Sony launched another camera, Sony Venice, and a year back, they launched Sony Venice 2. Last year, it was shown in the broadcast 2 years back, but it was officially for people to buy, it was last year. Sony Venice 2. It's a 8.6K camera, much better than the F65. And as I told you, that previously all our 18 cameras were F65, some were F55, and we had Angina lens. Now, Angina lens are one of the best zoom lens in the world, and they are one of the most expensive lens in the world. They're French lens. I know it would be French for you. What is Angina? You may have heard of Canon, Fujinon. Okay, they are good lens, but Angina is the best. Like in watches, how you know Rolex. The best watches are not Rolex. It is Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe is not known by the common man. Rolex is known to the common man. But the best is Patek Philippe. They are more expensive than Rolex. Similarly with the cars, people know about Mercedes. People think Rolls Royce is the best. Yes, they're expensive. But better than that are the Bugatti. They're less known. Only those people who are in the field of cars, they know about it. It's a sports car. It is multiple times more expensive than average Rolls Royce. So similarly in lenses, the best is the Angina lenses. The one we purchased now is the new version launched in this year. It is Angina Optima Ultra 12X. You know, it is fabulous. Each lens costing about 130,000 US dollars. So along with the camera, our stand alone cost about $25,000, only the stand. So one set of camera cost about 300,000 US dollars. Of course, where I'm concerned, I'm a good negotiator, I'm a good businessman. So we get a special discount. Just to tell you that in the year 2014 or 13, Sony had given us a flat discount. We said, you know, always we're buying from you, we negotiate. So they agreed flat discount, minimum 42%, everything, may give you more, but not less than that. In 2015, when we bought the F65, they increased it to 45% discount of the list price, flat discount, 45% of the list price, minimum. When I came to Malaysia, immediately after the COVID, during the COVID, when we started recording Ask Dr. Zakir, first we started with the iPhone in 2020, but after a few months, we decided in Jan 2021 that let's buy FX9. So I called the Sony, the manager of the Sony Malaysia, and he offered me 7% discount. I said, 7% discount? How much you want? So I said, about minimum 45%. He tried to laugh. Are you crazy? We as dealers don't get that much. Hardly we get 10. I said, no, I know dealer gets 25, not 10. I know that. I'm in the field. He said, impossible. How can we give you 45% when we ourselves get 25%? I said, do one thing. Phone the Sony headquarters in Japan and just tell them Dr. Zakir Naik wants to buy. He said, why should I waste my time? You're talking nonsense. I've been in Malaysia for so many years. I'm the head of Sony here. I've sold so many cameras. Never have we thought of such a discount. I said, do one thing, ask your headquarters. You can ask in Bombay, Sony India, or in Japan. Next day he comes and says, I'm shocked. They agreed to give you 45%. So Alhamdulillah, we have made our own impression in certain thing in the film industry. So we got that 45% discount, I think first time. And again, when we bought these cameras, Sony Venice 2, of course, I told them, this time we bought from Dubai, I said, tell the Sony headquarters, so they give us a special rate. So we get 45% discount of the list price. To be very frank with you, if you also go to buy, they will give you 5-6%, sure. If you're a good negotiator, they'll give you 10%. But above that, if you buy in bulk quantity, because the dealer gets up to 20-25%, they may pass 15% to you. It's no great deal. But if you want higher than that, then the dealers are kept aside. You deal directly with headquarters, and headquarters may give 2% to the dealer. This is how it works. But certain companies don't give discount. Like Angino doesn't give discount because there's a queue. They are specialized lenses, and they're made in such a way that you have to stand in a queue. So in 2015, when we bought Angino, that time, they initially first time gave us 7% discount, then gave 11%. Now, mashallah, they give us 18% discount on Angino lens. So of course, due to negotiation skills. So coming back to your question, now what we have is mashallah much more better equipment than before. But this time we reduced the camera to 10, but naturally different levels. The highest we have used is of the Venice 2, Sony Venice 2 with Angino lens and with tripod, which is O'Connor and Satchler. And we have used the second level, that is Burano, which is also 8.6K. And inshallah, with this new equipment, this will be our first trip, inshallah, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, very shortly, by the end of this month or on October. My first trip with this equipment will be to Pakistan. And inshallah, we expect to record with equipment. But unfortunately, my complete crew, we have to make a new crew for these equipment. These equipment cannot be handled by normal people, they are specialized people. So, and you know that most of the countries in the world, especially Muslim countries, you can't have these equipment. These equipment aren't available. So I'm sure that these equipment, Sony Venice 2 and Angino, Optimo, Ultra 12X, will not be there in Pakistan. Though Pakistan has a film industry, you know, only countries like India or maybe USA or UK or those countries where the film industry is very high will have these cameras and people who can operate these cameras. So it's going to be a challenge for me. So we are getting some of the people, you know, who are expert in the field. We'll be flying them. But previously we had our own team. Inshallah, very shortly we'll have our own team. We have bought the equipment, now we'll have our own team. But the first trip will be a challenge, where we also bought a drone, that is the DJI Inspire 3. It's the best drone in the world. So inshallah, we'll be shooting this program with 11 camera. 10 cameras will be on the stand and 1 would be on the drone, and 2 would be on the Jimmy chip. We'll increase it to 4 maybe. So it may go up to about 12 camera recording or 13 camera recording. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that these recording will be much better than what we did in 2015, 2016, inshallah, hopefully. So coming back to your question, yes, inshallah, I'm always for quality. I don't believe in israf. I don't believe in extravagance. But I know where we have to spend for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For personal things, I believe that we should wear unbranded things. For those who have the money, it's not haram. But even if Allah gives the money to me, we prefer being low profile. But when it comes to using your resources for dawah, see to it you use the best quality. Imagine if you use the best quality of cameras and you'll be getting sawab-e-jariyah for 70. So these new cameras that we have purchased, I'm sure it can be in the market for the next 80 to 100 years. Imagine how long will I live? We don't know. Already I'm 59 years old. Allahu alam, how long will a few years or more? We don't know. But surely there is a limit. Imagine if we record on this high quality and it can be for the next 80 years, next 100 years, yet you can use it. Imagine the amount of sawab-e-jariyah. And especially we take when we have large events where the audiences are in more than 100,000. If we record this, it is value for money. If the audience are more than 10,000, value for money. If it is more than 100,000, of course, these recordings can be preserved. And the amount of sawab-e-jariyah you will get is phenomenal. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may we have a better team than what we had before. We have purchased the equipment, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may we have our full-time team as before, so that, I'm supposed to start my tour in the next within a couple of weeks, and I'll be traveling to various countries, and I will be for about 3.5 months to about 6 or 7 countries, and we'll be taking the crew to most of these countries, if not all, where the audiences will be in large numbers. And inshallah, in future, very soon, you will be having this high quality recording, better than before, inshallah. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may He accept our efforts in this way. And you don't have to apologize for asking this question. I'm for technology. I'm for the best as far as dawah is concerned. So the question was very apt, and though many people will not like it, but I appreciate the question. But every recording that you see of mine on the YouTube or the social media is not recorded by us. And we don't have copyright. Many people take our recording and they copy it, and the recording system is so bad that the quality is 50%. Somebody else recorded that, another 50% down. And so it may be our original recording, but by the time it is uploaded on the social media, the quality may be 10% of our recording. Because when they copy, we have no copyrights. They don't copy in the best method. They use poor equipments. So it may be our original recording, but the quality may not be that good. So, but naturally we don't believe in having copyrights. We don't believe in monetizing on any of the Islamic activities. We keep it free for the Muslim Ummah so that we get sawab. And we hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts the effort.